loans. How do I set up student loan repayments?
Student loans are a deduction that's automatically taken off a person's pay and then marked for onward payment to HMRC. There's 3 ways to set up a person's student loan repayments. First, during onboarding, when you enter the person's P45 details. Second, when the student loan repayments are set up by you manually. Or third, when it's automatically set up by HMRC through an HMRC notice. Before starting, it's important to note that student loan repayments only apply to the employment types of employees and zero-hour workers. The first way to add a student loan repayment is during onboarding. First, to start the normal onboarding process, tap Menu, People, then Invite a Person. Once it's open, tap Add a New Person and enter the person's email and tap Invite. Next, fill in the person's name and tap Next. Then, when asked about their P45, tap Yes. And enter, from their P45, their leaving date from their previous job and tap Next. Then also from their P45, enter the employee's national insurance number and tap Next. Now set their title and middle name and tap Next. And then turn on their student loan deductions and tap Next. Normally, you'd continue by filling in all the onboarding details, but for the example, you can tap off the pop-up to close the onboarding process. And now, to see that their student loan repayments have been correctly added, go to Pay, then Pay Settings. And scroll down to the Repeat Payables Personal heading. By default, you'll see it's added a Plan 2 inches student loan. You're welcome to manually change the student loan plan number, for example, to Plan 1, Plan 4, or Plan 5. However, once HMRC receives your first payroll submission for the person, HMRC sends an HMRC notice to change the person to the correct student loan plan, which happens in the background automatically. If, however, you want to manually change the student loan plan number, tap the student loan. Then tap the Change Type button at the top and tap the new student loan plan number. And finally, you'll see the person's being correctly updated to the student loan repayment calculations of the new plan type. The second way to add a student loan repayment is manually. First, select the person who's getting the student loan repayment added on Menu, then People. And then go to Pay, then Pay Settings. And scroll down to the Repeat Payables Personal heading. Then tap New Repeat Payable. Next, select Student Loan Plan 2 Repayment. For 99% of student loan repayments, all the defaults are now already correct, including the payee, which is the bank account that the student loan repayments are paid to. The payee is automatically set to HMRC and can't be changed. You can now tap off, and you'll see that the person's student loan repayments are all set up. If you're curious to see how the student loan repayments look on the person's payslip, hover your mouse over the student loan and tap the See on Payslip button. You'll now see a payslip amount showing under Post-Tax Withholdings. And if you hover your mouse over the amount, you'll see a breakdown of the student loan repayment calculation. And finally, if you scroll up and tap the next payslip circle, you'll see the same amount repeated on every payday as expected. The third way a student loan repayment is added is when it's automatically set up or modified by HMRC through an HMRC notice. First, to see the HMRC notices, select the Pay Batch on Menu, then Pay Batches. Then tap Forms, then HMRC Notices. You'll now see all your Pay Batches HMRC notices from over the last year. Examples of HMRC notice actions include starting or stopping a student loan repayment, or modifying the student loan repayment type. To see an HMRC Notices full message, tap the blue See Event button at the start of any row. As long as the HMRC notice can be matched to a person, the action is auto-scheduled to be carried out by First Money. So in most cases, there's no action required from you. Also, for every auto-scheduled change that involves a person, 2 copies of an HMRC notice are emailed out. And finally, one is emailed to the person involved and the other to the pay batch's payday person, so everyone knows what's happened. Keep in mind that if the option for student loan repayments doesn't show up in the list, check that the person's employment type is one of employee and 0-hour worker, which are the only 2 employment types that are eligible for student loans. To learn more about HMRC notices, tap the red button in the notes to see the video on HMRC notices. To learn about deleting a student loan repayment, tap the red button in the notes to see the video on deleting a repeat payable. And that's it. That's all you need to do to set up a student loan repayment.